And if you go there and you rent a house near the beach, then you don't have tourism. You have a paradise in front of your house, and the house maybe is $150.
Hi, I'm Ray from Adventure Freaks Podcast, and I wanted to thank you for viewing our content. I also wanted to announce that we have a new website called adventurefreaks.com. Please check it out. We have living abroad cheap reports that provide all the details you will need before you embark on that journey to live or retire overseas. If you enjoy this content, hit subscribe and like that. It doesn't cost you anything to do that, and it helps us immensely. Thank you again. So today we are heading over to the Philippines at Cebu City with my new friend Goetz Kohlberg. Goetz, thanks so much for doing the podcast.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
heading over to my new friend Ray and his dog.
That's Sheldon in the backdrop, just kind of looking up and sleeping. But yeah. So tell us a little bit about you. I mean, just a little bit of background, where you're from, and how you found the Philippines and how you landed in Cebu City.
Okay, I'm German national. I come from the nice country of Germany, 58 years old now, running 59 this year. But I left Germany 10 years ago for good. Before that, I traveled around different countries, especially Asia. So I was realizing that the political system in Europe and especially in Germany is going down. And when I read the news and look what's going on there, I was right. So about 15 years ago, I realized I don't want to get old in Germany, because I was single there, so my family is small, and I realized when I get old in Germany, I end up in a nursing home alone. And when my father had to live his last 3 months in a nursing home, I realized that is not how I want to end my life and die. And so I looked around. I traveled to Thailand, to Indonesia, different other countries, and just looked around to find a place to stay where I can live. And as I said, Thailand, and this is also one video in my YouTube channel, I decided against Thailand because I don't speak the language. And if you get older, it's more difficult to learn a new language. And Thai is very difficult for me, I think. And that also includes Cambodia, Vietnam, Laos, all these countries with these difficult languages. And then I found the Philippines. And the Philippines is, for Europeans, not really in focus, because it's 3 hours, 4 hours further away than Thailand. For Americans, it's easier to reach, of course. But I said, Philippines, what's that? I knew the Pinatubo eruption back in the 90s, but I came here, and the first holiday here, I really was in shock, because I was known to tourism in different countries like Thailand, like Indonesia. These are Asian countries. Tourism is developed there, and I came here and realized they have no idea about tourism, really. So you can always say Philippines is kind of a third world country, but they are also developed. But on the other side, the great point for the Philippines, if you speak English, you are like at home here, because everybody understands you. You can easily talk to everybody, and you will realize the people here are extremely friendly. So even there is videos on YouTube out where they say, foreigners get robbed, foreigners have been shot and killed in the Philippines. This is just clickbait. Yeah. There are areas in the Philippines, in southern Mindanao, where the Muslim extremists are, so you are not supposed to go there. And I really can tell you don't go to Zamboanga without having the need to. But otherwise, other places, I have been in General Santos in South Mindanao, and I felt safe. Yeah, you can go out on the road and nobody will do you any harm. They will look at you because you are an alien there.
Yeah.
But if you talk to them, if you approach them, if you show them that you see them and respect them, these people are so friendly. It's really like family. Yeah, you are welcomed and they love you, and that's why it was my decision. Why I said I want to grow old here and die here, because it is absolutely different to a Western country.
Yeah, that's great. I've heard that a lot, that the Filipino people are incredibly warm and kind and friendly and inviting. I hear that a
Yes.
lot, and that's what makes it a really wonderful place to live in. The other advantage is that everybody does speak English there, so that is definitely advantageous when you compare it to places like
Yes, yes.
Cambodia or Thailand or Indonesia, because you got to learn a whole other language. And you don't really need to go through that if you choose the
Yeah, yeah.
Philippines.
Mhm.
But so let's get into everybody who moves to the Philippines, they got to find a place to live. So
Yes.
are you living, did you buy a place or are you renting?
So I rented
Okay.
because that's lifestyle in Germany. We are not used to buy houses and live there. So I grew up always renting, and for me it's a natural thing. And I would also say if you go to a new country and you don't know the place, um, it would be a mistake to directly buy a house or something, because you never know how this area develops if you
Yes.
really like it. And
Yes.
especially here in the Philippines, it can get noisy because they have dogs, they have roasters, they have you have we have outside behind of our house is a wet area with a lot of frogs, and when it rains, it's really noisy. So that's why I say renting is best. And you can rent in different places and find the place where you like to stay. And then when you also found a girl, then you can decide to build yourself a house and buy the land. But it's no problem to rent here for 5 or 10 years.
Okay. So what do rents start out at in Cebu City?
I moved into a small townhouse in the suburbs of Cebu. Now I live here in a townhouse, 2 stories, about 60 square meters. It's a little bigger than the condo, but I have 3 small rooms, a big sala. But compared to the 25,000 peso I paid in the condo, now I just pay 14,000.
How much is that in USD?
14,000, I would say, is about rough, I would say 280, $290. And
Okay.
this townhouse, the thing is, we are still here in the suburbs in Cebu City. So if you go further into the province, you can easily find a nice large house near the beach or in the mountains area, and you just pay maybe $200 rent.
Even
So
near the beach.
even there in because you need to remember the Philippines consists of 7,000 plus islands, yeah, and the larger islands like Cebu or Negros or Luzon, they are also more developed. So the nearer you are to a developed or tourism area, the higher the prices get.
Sure.
If you go over to Leyte, Leyte is the neighboring island in the south, but tourism there is really undeveloped. And if you go there and you rent a house near the beach, then you don't have tourism. You have a paradise in front of your house, and the house maybe is $150 or even
Okay.
less. It depends on the what what you want to have. If you want a concreted house with air cons and every lifestyle you need, this of course costs more.
Let me ask you this, because Cebu
Yeah.
City is a
Mhm.
really hot expat hotspot. A lot of expats live there, right?
Yes, because it's touristic. It's
It
the
is
second
touristic.
largest city here.
So
And
what can you get a comfortable one bedroom for in the city? If you want to be able to walk around and hit the nightlife and go to the cafes and the
Mhm.
pubs and that,
Yeah,
what is it? What do they start at in the city there?
I would think if I would say if you use a one bedroom or even a little smaller, the so-called studio type condos, you need to start at around 15,000 peso, which is about 250 to $300. And
Okay.
this is in the city, in the business districts, so that you have short ways to the nightlife, yeah, to malls like this. So you are directly in the city, but that's expensive. If you are, after a while, I would say, if you are more used to public transport here, which is cheap, or you have your own scooter to drive around, I would suppose just move out the city, yeah, 10 kilometers, 15 kilometers away from the center. Um, for like 15,000 peso, you already get a decent townhouse that is much larger, much, yeah, more convenient to live.
So you could actually find one bedrooms or small rooms probably
Yes.
for nothing. $100.
Yes. If you don't need a townhouse to live, if you are okay with a like one bedroom house or one cellar and one adjacent room for sleeping, those houses, especially, and if you are not necessarily have this concreted walls with wallpaper and everything, you can easily find a place to live for $100. Yeah,
Wow.
that's easily possible. So there is, um, in my experience, I also noticed from my Filipino friends, there is the possibility to rent a room. This is just a room. The CR is outside. Yeah, it's more like a boarding house, but you can get a boarding room for like 3,000 peso, and this is just $50. Yeah, so you
That's
live,
amazing.
it's just a room,
And
so
that's 50 for the whole month for a
yes,
room.
okay, you have to pay for electricity, and but usually CR and everything is outside, so it's possible to find this. It depends on the lifestyle you are using. So if you say, I don't have the much money, but I need a room to sleep, yeah,
Yeah.
then it's possible to find something for 50, 60, or $100 that is okay for you, even in the city.
Wow. Let's talk about utilities. Do any of these places that you refer to include utilities, or are utilities separate?
Electricity it depends mostly on how much aircon you use. If you use the typical window type aircon, which has no inverter, then these units usually run 1 kilowatt per hour because they don't switch off when the room is cooled. And usually people buy a 1 horsepower aircon and it is too small for the room. So the aircon is usually draining your wallet because it's already running. So this is one thing you have to keep in mind. Also, if you rent a unit, mostly the landlord just puts in a cheap aircon so
Mm,
that you have one, but they don't care about efficiency and cost saving because you pay for the electricity.
mhm.
So you can easily live here with an electricity bill of maybe $50 a month. Then you have a ref, you have light, you have fan, and like this. So $50 a month for electricity if you are single or even with a girlfriend, that already is a lot, I would say, without aircon. So 40 to $50 electricity is capable. If
Okay.
you add an aircon, it really depends. I would also always tell, if you start using air cons, don't buy the window type. Always get the split type with inverter. Okay, you once pay for the installation, but these inverters really keep the cost down. And then it depends on how big the room is, how long this runs. I would say if you have an aircon, you need to add about $100 a month for electricity just for the aircon, because it runs and runs, and after a while you like the comfort of it, especially on hot days. So
do you have an aircon?
I have 3 aircons or 4 aircons.
What do you pay for electric a month?
That's difficult because I already upgraded to solar.
Oh, cool.
Even I live in a rented house, so lucky. That's why I like living here, because the landlord is our friend, I can say. And they are really, usually the landlords here, they like Americans and Europeans because we are the renters that pay the rent. Yeah, so they don't like to lose us. But I'm lucky I can install the solar on the roof here.
Nice.
I would now, I worked before night shift, so my computer is running all the time. 2 aircons is running all the time, one in the office, one in the bedroom. So, and the electricity price has gone up over the last years thanks to the war in Ukraine, because here in the Philippines, the power plants usually use oil or coal. And at the moment, I would have an electricity bill of around 8,000 peso. So this is like $150, I would say. I would pay for electricity, but thanks to my solar installation, this is down to at the moment $60, $60 to $70 only.
Do you use gas there?
No. I used gas before. So I don't know how, I think the large canister of gas for cooking, which usually lasts for a month, is now about 1,100 pesos. So less than $20, but this lasts you a month. But when I switched to solar, I said, why should I use gas? Because now I have free electricity. So this is one thing to consider.
Yeah. How about water and Wi-Fi? What do you pay for water? Yeah, water, is that it? And then Wi-Fi, we covered gas, we got electric.
Okay. Water, you need to see the water you use for shower and washing and like this, because the water here from the tap, that's not drinkable water.
Right.
So my regular water bill, we use at the moment 16 cubic meter a month. That amounts to maybe $5.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is, and we use a little more because Elsie, my girlfriend, is washing more at the moment, and maybe we have a small leak. So you can say 16 cubic meter, that's 16,000 liter a month, amounts about $5 to $6 only for the water. So that's really cheap.
How about how much do you pay for Wi-Fi over there and cell?
Wi-Fi, the cheap, usually here in the province, we already have fiber connection. So I have my fiber connection is already 500 Mbit. I pay 2,700 peso for this. But if you use a cheap one, then maybe you pay like $15 a month, and you have like 100 megabit fiber connection to the internet, which is quite stable. So you can say 1 or 2 days a year you have an outage, but that's it. So in the city, in the developed areas, the internet connection is quite good. It's opposite in the province. The provinces are, you have to say, like third world. Internet there is not so good. Now you can have areas where you have no signal at all. also the electricity is not so stable in the provinces. So if you really move into the province, you really should consider solar to back up for brownouts. And since last year, you can get Starlink from Starlink, the satellite internet. This costs about 2,700 peso also a month, but then you are in the province, in the deepest province, but you have internet connection. So it is all possible if you invest a little more, but if you don't need it that much, you can easily get a mobile phone contract for internet, Wi-Fi, what's it called? This cell phone Wi-Fi routers.
Yeah.
And those contracts start at about $10 a month.
Okay. All right, cool. The next two things, how do you get around Cebu City? Is it a walkable city? Or do you guys have like rideshare, like Uber or Lyft or taxis? And do they have a metro system or a
Usually
public
I
bus
would,
system?
yeah. Usually if you say the the average human can walk 4 kilometers per hour, then I would say the city of Cebu is walkable. You just have to consider, even in the shadow, you have 30 plus degrees centigrade. So it depends on you if you want to walk it or not.
Okay.
We have rideshare here. There is an app, Ankas, you can use, but you can usually stand on the edge of the street and just wave a little bit, and one motorcycle driver will stop, and you just tell them where to go. We also, the Uber here is
How much
called,
do the moto taxis charge you per ride typically?
it's nearly the same than a taxi. That's the problems because of the gasoline price. If I go from here, from my home to the city, that's 15 kilometers distance, I really should pay 200 peso for a motorcycle ride one way. The taxi price is about 300 peso.
Break that down for me in USD. What is 200 and 300?
200 peso is maybe $3,
Okay.
and taxi would be for $5, I would say.
Okay, to 5. Okay. Okay.
That's why it's, you need to see the motorcycle riders. They are quicker because they can pass through traffic.
Sure.
Traffic here in the city, in Metro Manila and Metro Cebu, in the rush hours is horrible. So if you are in a taxi or in a jeepney, you can really say sometimes. I just read last week they now have a new updated traffic index for Metro Manila. 1 kilometer, 10 kilometers in 20 minutes. Yeah, so you can see how fast you can go, and 25 minutes. So if you want to save, then I would suppose you use the public transport, the jeepneys and the modern buses here. They are way cheaper. If I go from here to the mall, the same distance, I pay 300 peso or like $5 for the taxi. I pay maybe $3 or $4 for the motorcycle, but I just pay $1 for the public transport with jeepney and buses.
Okay, gotcha.
Only it takes maybe 2 or 3 times longer because of traffic.
And probably stops. Okay, cool. Let's jump into entertainment. And like, people are always interested in knowing what, if you go to a local restaurant in the Philippines in Cebu, just a local Filipino restaurant, what can you pay per meal for a lunch? How affordable on the low end? What can you get a nice meal for? And then give us an idea there. And then as far as like, what do people do for entertainment, and how much do you budget per month?
Yeah. So when you say local restaurants, you need to differentiate between those franchised restaurants, we would say is what we know from America or Germany, and the local so-called carenderias, where the locals, the Filipinos eat. thing is, you need to understand how much do Filipinos usually earn. If you are a Filipino and you earn $400 a month, then you are already more rich. So you are in the medium income structure with around $400. So if you go to one of those local carenderias, you can easily get a meal for $2. $2
Oh, wow.
is a meal. You have a rice, you have something to eat, and it gets you over the day. Yeah. So if you say you live like a local and you spend like a local, then I can say $10 a day is enough. You don't need more.
Cool. All right, let's move on to healthcare. Everybody that wants to move to another country wants to learn about their healthcare system, if it's
Mhm.
affordable.
Mhm.
And did you obtain some insurance in Philippines? If you have, what is the cost? How do you do it?
The most crucial question everybody asks me, how is healthcare? So I'm not so familiar with the American healthcare system. I just did a video about comparison the prices for my dentist, and I found out that America really, I don't know, they think you people are all millionaires from what they charge. So I can say usually healthcare in the Philippines compared to America, I would say it's cheaper here. But like in America, you pay for it for itself. In the Philippines, we have PhilHealth. That's the Philippine, public health care for everybody. And you, as a foreigner, even as a tourist, a long stay tourist, you can avail this PhilHealth system. It costs, as far I remember now, $300, $400 per year. But you need to be aware it's just a basic system. So even my ex-girlfriend, when she had, unfortunately, she had kidney tuberculosis, so we had to bring her to the hospital. And even she had paid PhilHealth for many years. They just paid a 10,000 flat, a $200 flat for this kind of hospital stay. So I was the one to pay the rest, and that was like nearly $1,000.
Okay.
Um,
How long was
so
she in the hospital for?
she only stayed there for 10 days, I think. I don't really recall it. I would always suggest to find an insurance, but it's difficult because it is really individual what you need. Luckily, over the years, I have one German insurance broker, and now I also have an American insurance broker. They can really help you find the correct insurance, but you should consider about $200 a month for
Okay.
an insurance that helps you, that has enough coverage also. But I had a private insurance back in Germany, so I know usually you have this insurance, but please don't use it, because if you use it, the next year they will raise your monthly payments. Yeah, it will go up because that's how they do money. Yeah, so, and this is why I have an insurance now, but I have not used it for the last 5 years. Yeah,
Is
it's
that
really.
insurance that you have, is it a
Mhm.
private insurance, and is it an insurance company
Yes.
within the Philippines?
It is all the insurances you do are private ones.
Okay.
So there is no state. The only state issued insurance here in the Philippines is PhilHealth
Okay.
for like $350 a year. But for $350 a year, you don't get the suit in the hospital with Dr. House attending you. That's not possible.
Okay.
So if you have an insurance that you pay for, like a private one, then you can go to the hospital. They will treat you good, and up to 1 or 2 million peso, that's like 20, 30, $50,000. you are insured and they pay this, of course, but next year your monthly or yearly, what's it called, membership will be higher. And
Right.
that way, if you use this insurance every year over and over, you will end up being unable to afford it when you are like 60, 70 or older. And
I see.
That's the risk.
I see. Interesting. That is interesting. Okay. Well, thanks for sharing that. That's good info. So the last
So
thing, the only thing we haven't covered, Goetz, is the visa requirement. Are you on a, what do people do for visa to stay and live in Philippines?
Okay. Visa requirements in the Philippines are really easy. Most foreigners here, they are just using the tourist visa.
Okay.
So if you come here to the Philippines, they stamp you the tourist visa, and after 2 months, you usually what's it called, extended by another 2 months. So
Okay.
every 2 months you extend it. A 2 months extension is about $90.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not that cheap, but you are allowed to stay on a tourist visa up to 3 years. After 3 years, you have to do a visa run. So you leave the country and the next day you can come back and this 3 years start over.
Okay.
And I know a lot of Americans or foreigners that live on this tourist visa for over 10 years, no problems. I would still live on this if not COVID had happened. So if you like to do this, you can stay here on a tourist visa and nobody will say anything.
Every 2 months, do you have to renew it?
That's the regular. They also now have a long stay visitors visa extension, LSVVE. This allows you for a 6 months extension. It costs, I think, around $200 for 6 months, like, or 270. And this way, you have to go only every 6 months there. This long stay visa extension is also necessary if you want to open a bank account or drive with a Philippine driver's license, because the local license from your country is only valid for up to 90 days. After 90 days, you have to get a Philippine driver's license. And for opening a bank account and having a Philippine driver's license, you need to show them that you are a long stay person here in the Philippines. So that's when you get this LSVVE, long stay tourist visa. And then it's really easy. You just go to the bank, open a bank account. You just go to the LTO, Land Transportation Office, to convert your local driver's license to the Philippine one. And this is really, nowadays, it's really easy to do.
Okay, good info. Good info. Well, Goetz Kohlberg, do you want to, that's all I have, man. I want to thank you for all of this information and taking the time to do this. Do you want to, let's plug your podcast. You got a YouTube podcast. What's the name?
My YouTube channel's name is now Discover and Live the Philippines. So maybe you just put the link under the podcast so people can find it.
All right. Well, Goetz, thank you, man, for your time. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah. Okay, man. And
maybe we can meet in Cebu when you emigrate here one day.
I'd love to, buddy. Well, you have a great, it's actually your morning. You're just waking up. It's our evening.
Now
so
11 a.m. here.
Yeah. So have a great rest of the day, and I'll talk to you soon.
You too.